wish to plough a narrow groove through the middle of this board. When ploughing less than about 1/4 of an inch, you find that having the sliding section on the plane creates a sole which is too wide to fit in the groove. So for narrow grooves we don't use the sliding section. I've installed a 3/16 cutter and adjusted it to just below the base of the sole. I've set the forward depth stop to give me a depth of cut between the base of the stop and the bottom of the cutter. And I've installed the long rails and a fence. And I've adjusted the fence to place the cutter on the work exactly where I want the groove. I'm clamping the board I'm working on raised off the bench with a spacer directly below where I'm going to be cutting, and it's held in position with bench dogs and the end vise. Place the fence tight up against the reference side and we can start cutting. I'll just point out that because we're going with the grain, we haven't set the spurs. So the spurs are tucked away. With every pass we make, the sole of the main stock can sit lower in the work, so there's no advancement needed for the blade. And we just continue cutting until the depth stop prevents the plane from cutting anymore. And that's it. Ploughing a narrow groove with the Stanley 45. Piece of cake. I've installed a 1/2 inch blade, which is considered a wide blade because we'll be using the sliding section as well, and I'll show you that in a minute. I've set the cutting edge just a little bit below the sole of the plane, and I've set the depth stop at the front of the plane to stop me going too deep. Because I'm using a wider blade, I need to install the sliding section on the plane. This gives added support to the back of the cutter. I just need to make sure that that's set just within the width of the cutter. On very wide cutters you might want to set it further towards the main stock to give good support across the whole width of the blade. Because I'm working with the grain, I shan't be lowering either of the spurs. Next we need to install the fence and set it to the right distance from the plane to cut where we want the groove. On this occasion I've got the work directly on top of the bench, held by a bench dog and the end vise. The edge of the work that we're going to reference the fence from is hanging off the edge of the bench, so the fence doesn't get tied up with anything. Press the front of the fence tight to the work, rest the sole of the main stock and the sliding section on the work, and we can begin to cut. As the work progresses, the sole of the main stock and the sliding section fit within the groove we're cutting, lowering the blade every time. The blade is chattering a bit. You can probably hear that noise. You will get that with wider blades because they can't be fully supported. Just continue to take shavings until the depth stop prevents the plane from going any deeper. I think we're just about there. So, ploughing a wider groove using the Stanley 45. A piece of cake. Cheerio.